don't know if we live or whatever, man. I was dealing with some shit, totally slipped by me. I was cooking and doing other stuff.
Hey, no worries, no worries. We're live right now. I just talked to CJ. It's funny. I said, "Are you good for 7? We still good for 7?"
Here we go.
Yes. Oh, there he is.
Bad.
It's all good.
Man, I don't know if we live or whatever, man. I was dealing with some shit, totally slipped by me. I was cooking and doing other stuff.
Hey, no worries, no worries. We're live right now.
Hurry up. I was like, I kept checking my time. I was like, man, let me plug up this phone. And then I was like, oh shoot. And then I got into a conversation, totally forgot, man.
Yeah, no, we're all good. Almost did the same thing. Almost fell asleep. I was like, I was talking about.
I was really, look at my man's.
I was talking to my wife. I was like, damn, I'm tired after hitting legs yesterday. And I just started falling asleep. She was like, don't you need to jump on a meeting? And I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, bro. I know.
What's good, boss man?
Yeah, what's going on? Welcome.
What's going on? What's going on, man? Just in here. What, so I'm I'm telling you, I was cooking batches of fish. Batches of chicken. I'm talking to my boy while I'm cooking. I said, oh shit. Okay.
All right. Yeah. Well, hey, let me welcome you to let me welcome you to Post It Up with myself and Neil. We got CJ Get Big, IFBB Pro, and yeah, man, how's everything going with you? Are gyms opening up where you're at right now?
Nah, man, no gyms open. I'm over here. I'm over here in Cali, man. No gyms opening up over here right now. The governor in different places, the governor, the mayor, and stuff. They're not allowing anything open. So hopefully it opens soon, man. I'm ready to get back into the groove of things. I think it was a good time frame to let everybody chill and so on and so forth. And now it's time to, it's 3 months now. It's time to, roughly everybody's about 3 months. Things are opening up. So people are going to feel envious about other individuals.
No doubt. Well, let me do this really quick. I always like to share my screen. I want to roll through a little bit of your Instagram profile, and it always kicks off some questions and things like that. So I'm sure we'll come across a couple of things. Let me see here.
You gotta fix that bed sheet behind you.
You like that? That's my.
You gotta fix that thing.
I know. I didn't have time. That's what I'm saying. So I come in here, I'm trying to pin it up. Last week it looked better. It was spanned all the way across. So I'm gonna fix that. I got a backdrop coming, but this is my ghetto makeshift because I got a mirror behind me. So it's terrible for the light. But all right, so we got IFBB Classic Physique Pro. Is that Dominican flag?
Panamanian.
Okay, Panamania. Solid. So are a lot of these photos current?
Negative, brother. I'm fat as fuck right now. No, I'm not fat as fuck. But I literally, right now I'm in school. I'm finishing up school right now. I got a semester or two left. So I just focused on, I just literally focused on my schooling right now, man. So I'm really quick at bouncing back, man. I can get my body in tip-top shape in, a short period of time, man. So I'm not really tripping about it.
For sure. What are you going to school for?
IT.
Nice.
Information systems and security and networking.
Hey, you'll always have a job doing that.
Sure.
One thing I did want to ask you about was this one right here. So talk to me about, let me get this playing real quick. Whoo! So talk to me about this boxing. Now, is this something that you grew up doing, or you just decided you were going to do it?
Nah, man. It was, I was in the military, and, it was just something that it was extracurricular, man. And
right.
So I trained with this Golden Glove guy, and I'm gonna tell you what, they're minute rounds. I can tell you what, brother. I might have been rigid and whatever, but I was bodybuilding at that time, and I didn't call myself a bodybuilder. I just called myself, weight training or weightlifting or whatever. But I was in the military and they had this event, and I was like, the first time I did it, I lost, but I was so winded. I mean, he didn't knock me out or anything, but he won off of points. But boy, I was tired as crazy. So the next year they did it, I was ready. And I got myself prepared for it. I was running and I was doing the sparring and the practicing and stuff from scratch, man. And it was very fun and exciting. And I came out there and whipped up on the dude, but put him in the hospital actually. But I stopped the fight before I knocked him out completely. He was on the rails at the end. But it was just something that my dad was a boxer.
Okay.
My dad boxed. And I just kind of like, boxing is, a male thing, man. We like to, I don't know if you ever slap box and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure. So it's just kind of like, all right, well, it's the military. You try to get out of different things being in the military too. There's so much BS work to do. So you try to do something else. So it was good, man. And I kind of liked it. Boxing is actually very tiring. It's a very tiring sport.
Oh, I bet. I can only imagine.
Very tiring.
What branch were you in?
I went into the Army.
Okay.
Yeah, I went into the Army. So that was a good thing. I've done, all kinds of sports, man. Wrestling, track, football, basketball. I even like volleyball, to be honest with you. I've done a number of different things. Karate, kung fu. Yeah.
How'd you get into bodybuilding?
So I've always been into weightlifting per se, since I was before my 9th grade, before I actually went into 9th grade, I actually was bullied in my 8th grade year. And then I started working out. My dad had a curl bar at the house and I just started doing arms every day. And I just, and then, I joined the football team. I was trying to join the football team. It was too late, so I joined the following year. But when I went into school into 9th grade, all that bullying shit stopped. And then they called me Big Swole after that, and I just kept that consistent thing going. My dad is a very dedicated individual. I think I get that type of trait from him, like being dedicated to something. I'm a Capricorn, so once you focus on something, man, like I go hard. So I'm a very hard worker. When I say I'm gonna do something, I'm a very, very hard worker. So that's where it basically came from. It came from, I would say it necessarily started from, I was always active in the sports, but that bullying really picked up the fact that, like, I'm not gonna get bullied no more.
Right.
And it changed, man. And I kind of liked the outcome of it. And I continued to work out because I liked how my body was looking as a young guy coming up. And people saying, hey, Big Swole, Big Swole, hey, Big Swole, And I just kept it going, man, here and there, kept it going. And in and out of relationships out of high school. And then my cousin one year, 2015 rolled around. My cousin was like, a lot of people would say, man, you should do bodybuilding. I said, this was before Classic Physique came out. I was like, they some big guys. Like, and it was so, like, I'm gonna be honest with you. It was so BS because they didn't have social media as they do now. And, we was looking at magazines and they would lie to you in those damn magazines, I was in the gym for an hour and I ate, and I was just like, dude, you're not in there for an hour. You're in there for like 3 hours for the day, dude. Like, to get that big, it's really like going through school and looking at magazines. It was so bullshit, the magazines. I was like, there's no way you got that big off an hour a day in school. So there was a lot of shit I was naive to. And then come to find out, as a pro bodybuilder now, a lot of that shit is bullshit. So I just got into it, man. My cousin said, man, you could beat all these guys from our area. Why don't you do a bodybuilding competition? You look good. You could beat these guys. I said, well, fuck it then. I hope profanity's okay.
No, you're good. You're good.
I don't know how your podcast is, but I said, well, forget it then. I said, I got a show in 6 weeks. The one that they just posted recently. And it was in my area, and I did the show, man. And then ever since then, I was amazed of what I did with the little that I knew at the time. I just worked my ass off, man. I was probably one of the best looks I ever had, to be honest with you. But I did it with eating cookies and Doritos and just eating regular, my regular fish and ground turkey and chicken and stuff, man. The rest of the carbs are pretty much, my broccoli, which is your net carbs, and a little bit of that, it's like barely no carbs in that, and then Doritos and cookies. That was it.
So how many shows did you compete in before you won your pro card?
5.
5 shows.
What was was that like a 2-year span? 3?
1. It was only a couple months.
Wow.
It was only a couple months. So my first show, as in classic physique, okay, so I was in bodybuilding before, and I did 1 show. And then the judges were like, I wanted to do class physique. And they were like, yo, you're too big for physique. Like, you're bigger than a lot of the pro athletes. I was like, well, he was like, you would have to lose muscle. I said, well, I'm natural. I'm not going to lose muscle, everything that I built. So he's like, then you got to go up. And I wasn't going to go up because I wasn't about to get that freakishly big, and I didn't know what it took to necessarily get there. I just knew that it took something to get there. Mm-hmm. I didn't like the look of the big bodybuilders at that time either. It was just, it was Ronnie Coleman, and it was Kai Green and Jay Cutler, a lot of those big bodybuilders that were winning during that time, and I didn't like how they looked. It was too massive for me. I wanted to look good in my clothes. So then Classic Physique came out the following year, and I kind of played around it, and I won my show. I won my category. I didn't win overall, but I won my category, and I didn't look too great, but I knew I was going to win. There was no huge competition in my area. I won, and I just wanted to see what Classic Physique looked like. And throughout the year, and Danny Hester won that year, and I was just kind of get a feel. And then Sadiq came down to my area later on that year after they did the competition. He got 3rd place that year. Mm-hmm. Got 4th. I believe Arash got 2nd.
Yeah.
And so when Sadiq came down, he came down to a supplement. He came down to a supplement, like, one of those supplement stores and stuff, signing stuff. Mm-hmm. So I was asking this dude, I was natural. So I was asking this dude, like, questions like, not questions that your normal person asks. I was asking more political questions. Like, I don't care how many carbs you ate and how much cardio you do and so on and so forth.
What are you running?
I didn't even ask about gear because I was natural. And
right. Okay.
So me, if you look at my pictures as in Sadiq and you look at my pictures flexing on Sadiq, I was damn near as big as him naturally. Yeah. And he's not even that big, to be honest with you. Like, but naturally, I was bigger. Like, I was a little bit bigger than him naturally when it came to our flexing on our upper body and everything like that. He had really big legs,
gotcha.
But I felt like my upper body beat his naturally. So I was like, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. A lot of people, before they see a lot of these fitness stars and, bodybuilders, they be like, man, these dudes look huge. And when you see them in person, they really don't look that big compared to me, I would say.
Right. Well, I mean,
so when I actually went to an event and I saw these people, I was like, these people ain't that big. I could beat these guys. I was I'm natural and I look good just like these guys.
Yeah, it's like you said with social media. I mean, now it gives people the capability to only post, the best photos and the right angles and sit there and tweak them till it looks just right.
Yeah, of course. I try to be real, man. I try to be real.
Yeah.
So after he made a comment and he didn't like the things that I was saying, and he was like, my buddy at the time, he they went out to eat after, and they were like, he came back and he told me, like, Sadiq was still talking to me about me at the dinner table. Like, who the fuck is this guy? Who the fuck does he think he is? I was asking about the politics, about, you know, his placing and so on and so forth. And he got mad and shit. And I was like, yo, I'm a nobody. So that kind of fueled me. And I said, I'm going to beat this mother. I said, I'm going to beat this guy. The next year, I'm going to get my pro card and I'm going to beat this guy. And sure enough, that type of negativity that he gave me, because I'm like, I'm just asking him questions. Like, I'm a fan. Like, I told him I liked his physique. I'm a fan and so on and so forth. And literally, it motivated me to get my pro card the following year. And I did. You know, I did 2 qualifying shows. I won both of them. And then I did a national show. I got 6th place at USA's. And then I did Pittsburgh. I got 4th place. And then I did the first Olympia, amateur Olympia. And I won overall. In that show, you had to win your category and overall to get your pro card. Not that 2nd place stuff. Right. So I won. And then after that, I got 2nd place. And that's when I met Neil. I got 2nd place at the Ferrigno, which I was disappointed with that one because I felt overall I should have won.
I'm glad you touched it. That was going to be my next question. We talked a little bit at the show, and also too, by me being in the show, I also had you as the winner. I had you winning. It wasn't, I mean, but we know how now, you know, you've been in the game. Now you know how the politics work, you know, so people understand that, you know, it is what it is. You know, so.
I'm going to be honest.
But I had you as the winner.
I think that Robert Timms won simply just for the fact that he was the reigning champ for the year prior.
Yep.
And his sponsor was
Gaspari.
Rich Gaspari. So you're sponsoring a show, you have it's going to be in your favor. I don't care what no one says.
Right.
I don't care what anyone says. There's politics in bodybuilding. If you have a person that, you know, they're going to look into favoring you, plain and simple. They're not going to like me because of my mouth, but I will tell you the truth. Now, there are some individuals on the table that, you know, judges on the table that will be fair. But there are ones that will, if they like your physique, granted, if you look completely off, they're not going to give it to you.
Right. But if it's a little bit between you and the guy next to you, and they already,
it don't even have to be that little bit though. It has to be a fair, like, it has to be a good enough margin. Meaning that if they come top 5, let's say a person deserves 5th place, they might move them to 2nd or even 3rd, and he deserves 5th. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I know for Pittsburgh, I know for Puerto Rico, I deserve a lower place than I got to. I think because of the judges during that time, which, see, I'm going to be real. Regardless, the judges knew of me because of my previous show. And I feel like some of the guys that was on there looked better than me at the time. I got the placing because of the judge said that, I mean, not saying the judge was like, he told me, he was like, you definitely could have got a better place. But I think that he kind of favored me just because he knew, like, he's seen me before and I looked great the previous show.
Right.
So sometimes, you know, sometimes they're going to give you a look. Like, if you're a senior, like, meaning that if you come up on stage and they're seeing you more,
I was just going to ask about that.
First, they're going to give you a look first. Now, fairly, I feel like they can fairly assess you. Even if they're in your favor, you can win or you can't win. But I do feel like there is politics to it. Like, we're humans.
Right.
Okay? We're humans. That means that we're going to pick what we like and what we don't like. Now, if it was a machine vote, that'd be totally different. If it was an audience vote, it'd be totally different. Now, when it comes to the same judges seeing the same people, if they like you and you got a better physique up there that beats the person you like, if they're within 1 to 3 places within, they can bump you up. They'll bump you up. I've even seen it. I can call people out. You know what I mean? I'll be the 50 Cent of bodybuilding. You know what I mean?
I'm right there. I remember I was at a local show. It was Cascadian. I'm not going to name names, but there was a coach that was also a judge that came back, and he told him, "Hey, when you're going through your mandatories, this is what they're looking for. When the other cats turn, I want you to do this. I want you to, and it's like, okay.
Like I feel like this. There's a guy named Danny Union. Okay.
Yep.
I feel like there are some judges that favor Danny Union and Arash. Like, for instance, Danny Union did a show, which was, I believe, I forget what show after the Olympia last year he did, and he won. Do I
Long
feel
Beach.
like, was it Long Beach?
Was it the Legion of Sports last year or the year before?
There was a show before, and then he did Long Beach, and he got second place in Long Beach because Arash won. Now the only reason why Arash is cool, nothing against him, I respect him, so on and so forth. I do not feel like Arash should have won, but because Danny Union had won prior to the show, of course I don't feel like he's gonna win the next show because he already qualified for the Olympia. So they're gonna want somebody else in there. But Danny Union actually looked better when he did the Legion Sports, and I was right up there. And I was like, Union should have won, but granted, he won the previous week, which he looked better for Legion than he did the week prior. But I feel like for me, Arash shouldn't have won. He probably should have got second. But because Danny Union, like I said, because Danny Union already qualified, they're going to give it to the next contender, which is Arash.
And you're hitting on a great topic, because a lot of people don't understand that this really happens. It's like, that's how you stack the deck also with the people that you want. Okay, now we got, CJ here. Okay, CJ just got this show. Danny Union and CJ is about to go on this next show. Okay, we already know CJ, even though he might look better this show, we want Danny Union to be in the next show. So they kind of handpick who they want at certain shows.
I mean,
it happens.
At the end of the day, as a judge, I understand that you're gonna know that who's coming into the show. If you see a familiar name, you're gonna expect this person to be on point. They're going to want to see that physique that they've seen before or better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I've actually talked to some judges before, like talked to them and really like wanting to know about the political thing, because I thought it was really, really like horrible my first year. 2019 was a little bit better, and I wouldn't say it was favoritism, because at Pittsburgh I knew I was going to get second off the bat. I knew I was, and I knew I was going to do bad at Puerto Rico. So my 2019 looked totally different than my 2018. But I know that there's politics, because people have told me, like, contenders, like, yo, they whispered in the judge's, ear, and he still lost, but he didn't look like in 12th place. He bumped up to 7th place. You know what I mean? Like, I get it.
Definitely. So what's 2020 looking like for you? Any plans for shows coming up? Are you taking the year off?
No, man, I'm resting. I'm gonna focus on my money.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's important. I feel like it's important too to continue to step on stage. I tell a lot of my buddies that I've encountered, I'm like, you gotta step on stage, because you gotta play their game. Something that Lucky Libra has said, which is Andre Ferguson, you gotta play their game. He came out and he was when he first came out, he was a talker, and he talks now, but he can back himself up.
Right. Yeah, I remember he had that beef with Brandon Hendrickson for, 2018?
Right. I mean, he's won his Arnold's, but he's yet to win a Olympia. So, yeah, he wins shows, but he's yet to win an Olympia. Granted, he's been in the game for a minute now. You know what I'm saying? He's been in the game for a minute, had a great physique, so on and so forth, top physique. You know, so you have to if you're going to talk shit, you have to back it up. And I feel like at the end of the day, you have to step on stage. I keep telling a lot of my guys that you're doing one show a year. You're not being seen. You're not getting better. How are you perfecting your craft if you're not being seen and you're not doing, how are you getting to be better if you're not in a prep stage every single time?
Right.
It's good to do 2 to maybe 3 shows for the year. And I mean, if you win, then okay, then you're qualified. So that's 2 shows right there. That's your winning qualification, and then that's the Olympia. If you do 3 shows, that's maybe points, or a win and a win, and then maybe, or points and a win, and then maybe the Olympia. But I feel like 2 to 3 shows for the year is good. You're showing yourself in your area, wherever you're at. And sometimes you got to know your physique and what are the judges looking for in different areas. East Coast and West Coast, they're looking for different things. So you got to know, people sometimes are on the East Coast might need to go to the West Coast. And some people on the West Coast might need to go to the East Coast. But the key thing is to, like, if you're competing once a year, how are you, okay, for instance, take this. Let's say an actor. You think Denzel Washington would be as great as he was doing one movie a year? No, he did several for the year in his prime time. You know what I'm saying? Will Smith would have never been one of the greatest actors to the day, a black actor, if he wasn't on the set as much as he was. He's chilling now, so you have your reputation. You know what I'm saying? You can pick and choose. When you're Denzel Washington, you can pick and choose your roles now.
Yep.
When you're Mark Wahlberg, you can pick and choose your roles now. You know, it takes time, but you have to be on set. You have to practice your craft to get better. You can't not practice you cannot get better by sitting on not doing, going to shows. So I feel like politics is definitely a big thing. I feel like they've probably, they're streaming. I wouldn't say they're streaming away from it completely, but I feel like it might be a little bit, it's monetized a little bit more now. I feel like it's a little bit more monetized now. Because they didn't know what the hell they were looking for in classic physique for 2 years. Now they have a little bit more of a structure because it's been 6 years now being on classic physique. So a couple years they were figuring out what's the weight, what's the shorts, what's the, what are we looking for? We're looking for big guys. Now we're looking for small guys. Now, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it makes it very confusing, and it confuses the athletes because we don't know what the judges are looking for. Now they have a gist of what you're looking for, and the judges now are articulating that because they've heard competitors complaining, like, what are you looking for? Okay, like Tamer, he says, this is what we're looking for. TK, this is what we're looking for. We're looking for this, and that there. And if you want, send me your stuff. I can talk to you after after your competition. Those things are helping the feedback from judges. Those things are helping back. Like Tyler Mannion, I talked to him right after my show. What could I do better? He told me these type of things, you have to want to go out there and talk to the head judge. I talked to Steve Weinberger. Yo, you have a great physique. This pose looks good on you. You got to get in front of them, man. You have to get in front of them. You have to get in front of them for you to know. Like, look at George the Bull. George Peterson. He got third place. You know what I mean? 3 years in a row, third place. He's like, what? Like, everybody's like, yo, he should have won. Steve Weinberger said, I think you should go in 212. Boom, he jumps up to 212. Let's see how he does in 212. You got to talk to him just because, you might be a favorite, but, sometimes, people, they might be picking what they want the face of, you represent the IFBB. When you win, they're going to be like, that's the face of bodybuilding or classic physique. They want that. That's awesome. So politics play a part.
That's good info. That's all really good info. I hope we get, we're running out of time. It's giving us 10 minutes. That's all right. No, that's really good info for up and coming competitors. So we got 10 minutes. I'm going to try and bounce through a couple of questions real quick. One I wanted to touch on is training. Did your training change from when you were bodybuilding to when you decided you were going to go classic?
Nope.
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 And what's your training style philosophy?
I don't have work your ass off. Nope, I don't have.
But you're not a high volume, heavy weight. It's just you.
I do. Okay, so I would say that I don't have a push and pull day. You know what I mean? I believe in push and pull. I feel like, you know, I go in there and I say that I'm gonna work this muscle, and heavyweight can be whatever you feel for that day. I mean, to be honest with you, you have different days. Your carbs might be low, your food might be off, your sleep might be off. So a heavy day could be whatever the hell you feeling. I mean, every bodybuilder goes through this. Some days you're feeling great, you're pushing heavy weight. You know, I like to do high reps regardless, heavy weight and high reps regardless. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm doing, you know, 10 plus. Sometimes I'm doing 20 plus. Sometimes I'm doing 50 plus. Sometimes I'm doing 100 and something plus. You know what I mean? It depends. Depends on what I'm doing.
Sure.
And how I feel for that day. If I might bust out 5 sets, 6 sets, 7 sets. I don't have a set, like, I'm gonna go in there and, you know, some days I might go in there and say, I'm gonna do 4 sets of this and I'm gonna, you know, get it out. Some days I'm like, I might feel good and I'm gonna keep going on this until I get a nice good pump. I mean,
so you just kind of go by feel then.
And that's why I get my results, because I work my ass off and I feel like it doesn't matter. Arnold did the same thing. Lou Ferrigno did the same thing. All those guys usually did the same thing. They didn't really they just went in there and worked their fucking ass off. I talked to Lee Haney. He said, yo, I didn't even do cardio like you guys do today. I did 15, 20 minutes. I stayed at 200 grams and I worked my ass off. I worked it up. They did splits, worked out upper body in the day and did something at night. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do the same thing. I work my ass off. I just go in there and bust it out, man. However I feel is what I do.
That's what's up. Well, I know nutrition-wise, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I know nutrition-wise, Neil wanted to bring something up that I was kind of curious about too.
Oh yeah, I know you off the set, so talk to us a little bit about some of your food choices, the Doritos, and also talk about that legacy pre-show ice cream indulgence that you had. You was telling me about during the show.
Yeah, I wanted to hear about this.
I don't do the ice cream anymore.
But still let us know what you did.
Oh, for the legacy? Oh man, yeah. I ate boy. I dieted hard for legacy because I was trying to meet weight and I didn't know my weight at the time. I dieted hard. So the last about 2 weeks, I was killing myself, man. I was just drinking egg whites and it's keeping it low carbs like crazy, bro. I dropped down to 3 ounces of fucking fish. I made weight. I was way under, but the carb up was delicious, man. I did 18 scoops of ice cream. I did steak, eggs, pancakes, double burger, double fries, you know, a colossal burger. I did a turkey sandwich with fries again. The next day I did, another big breakfast, you know, and have pancakes. Pancakes are always in my carb up usually, shit like that, man. And I look great. Killing it, bro.
And what's so crazy about it, he was almost late for his finals routine because he was sitting out in the foyer area eating a muffin.
I was eating a muffin.
Damn. Well, hey, we got about 5 minutes left. Let people know what you got going on. Are you doing any sort of coaching, training? If so, how can they connect with you?
Yeah, I do online training, online coaching. You know, I feel like I'm a really great coach. When it comes down to it, I will give you more than what you pay for. I believe in doing God's deed and helping individuals and we all need money to eat, but at the same time, I feel like my whole thing is to get you to where you need to be. So I take things personally because I work hard, so I expect you the same result. You came to me as a trainee or to receive help, and I'm going to push you and help you get there. So if you guys want to find me, CJ Get Big on Instagram. That is CJ Get Big, all together.
I'll put it in the show notes too. So
there you go. So I appreciate it. You know, I appreciate it. You want to have any other questions?
I think that's it. Thank you so much for your time, CJ. Man, I need to get you back on because we got like 3 minutes left, and I definitely got.
Hey, hit me up anytime, man. Talk to me anytime. This was actually, it was pretty fun, man. I've been on quarantine, so this is actually pretty nice. Neil, thank you for having me on here and keeping me in mind with something like this. My man has always looked out and reached out and stuff, man. And we, since day one, man, I honestly like the genuine friendship that we've happened to, acquire and stuff like that, man. I appreciate you, brother. Keep grinding and, keep on with your podcast as well, my brother.
All right. Appreciate you, boss. Thank you.
Yeah. No Take care.
Guys. Take it
easy. If you're ever up in Oregon, hit us up.
For sure, brother. For sure.
All right, man. All right. Take care.